The Wednesday Week is sponsored by Michael Constantine Wealth Management. We bet you can't find a financial advisor closer to Hillsborough Stadium.
Okay, so good evening, good afternoon, depends on what time you're listening to it. Welcome to the Wednesday Week. My name's Dan, we've got Ben and we've got Holly. With us, we've got another special guest, a guy who spent a short amount of time with us at Sheffield Wednesday, but is fondly remembered in what was a decent season for us, or season and a half, I think it was, Grant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I'll make no more hesitation. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Grant Holt. How's it going, Paul? You all right?
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks. Thanks for having me. I said we're just talking about Wednesday. Yeah, when you seen that picture the other day, Jesus Christ, you could tell I came from a factory somewhere eating fried breakfast in the morning. I wasn't the most athletic, was I, for the first 3 months, but actually had a decent pre-season, so it was all right.
So normally on these ones, as I normally say every time we do a show, Ben's done his own work. So we're gonna go right back to your non-league career, your early days pre-Wednesday. Now, because like we were saying, you were so young when you were at Wednesday, we're probably going to talk about after, which never happens. So we're going to end up talking about other teams. So Norwich fans, brace yourself. You know what I mean? And we'll go from there. Off you pop, Ben.
We can't do all our teams because we won't have enough bloody time to do it. But
yeah.
So I had to. I watched you under the cosh one, so I won't make the same mistake as them and said that you got released by Carlisle. I think you left Carlisle at your own accord, and then had a spell of non-league football. So how do you think that prepared you, especially for the striker that especially that we saw at Norwich, big target man, hustle bustle? Was the non-league way preparing you for that?
I think I've been at Carlisle since I was like 12, since a kid. Obviously, that was the youngest you start. I was there till 15, and then I ended up leaving. I just wasn't enjoying it. I didn't enjoy the whole thing of travelling down to Liverpool, getting spanked 5-0, not playing. I was a right back in them days, and I just didn't enjoy it. And I didn't fall out of love with football. I was falling out of love with the environment. I'd gone from playing Saturday with my friends, Sunday with my friends, and then it was like, you can only play for Carlisle, you can't play with your local team. And I was like, that's not what I want to do. And I just left, and then I started playing back with my mates, and then working Reds at the time. We just had a little bit of an influx of money, and they were trying to get a lot of local lads to go and play for their under-18s and the first team. And Peter Hampton, who was he sadly passed away not that long ago, he was a Carlisle physio. And he left his job and he got the job there. And he obviously knew about Harrowby and Carlisle and different players. And he invited like 5 or 6 of us to go along and have a few games and a few trials. And that's kind of where the journey came back into playing. It was like Northwest Trains League. I ended up playing half a season. Then I got suspended. I got a two-footed someone in a reserve game and got 7 weeks. I don't know how that.
Jesus, what did you do? Good, threaten his mum as well, like what?
I'd gone in and two-footed him down the line, and basically as I two-footed him, then the referee had sent me off. But it was a great tackle, in my opinion.
They always are.
Standard two-footed challenge, but won the ball, but took everything at the same point. And the referee sent me off, and I told him then to do what you do with 2 fingers. And he decided to put that in the report, and I ended up getting 7 weeks. So I got it was the most bizarre thing. So I got 7 weeks. So I missed like the most ridiculous amount of games ever. But I ended up getting back, and because I used to play right back, and I went there as a centre forward. I'd moved up front by then, and because I played right back, as a punishment, when I got back, we didn't have any right backs. So the manager for the reserve said, "Right, you could play right wing back today." I was like, "What?"
Do some running.
Yeah, do some running. So I basically played right wing back further on the Saturday. I played right wing back on the Tuesday. The following week I played again. He went, "You can stay there." And the first team, on that weekend when I played the wing back, the 2 right backs for the first team both got injured. So I got called back up to the first team, but as like a makeshift right back because the first team didn't have any right backs. So I was now on the bench as the right back, and then in the game, the 2 centre forward got injured. He came off. The other centre forward went on, and then we only had 1 centre forward on the bench, and then the other centre forward got injured. So then I had to get put on a centre forward. So I'd gone on as a centre forward, and then I ended up playing the game. I scored, and then I stayed in the squad as like the makeshift right back / centre forward. week after, both centre forwards, one didn't make it, so the first sub was me, and then literally I started playing a forward, and I went on to like I banged 12 goals in like 13 games.
Well, nice.
Literally, it was just mental how it all like worked out, and and that was kind of it really. So I started playing. It was the first time that I think Working had won a league in like 50 years or something like that. So it was kind of a crest of wave, and we got like loads of people, and it was I'm trying to work out. I think it was like a Matlock kind of situation, kind of like that level, and they'd never done it before. And at the end of the season, it was like I think we had like the road down there was 2,500. But there definitely wasn't. There was like miles more than 2,500, and it was like old. So when you picture like old school grounds, you know what I mean? Like you can walk around everywhere. We could walk any stand you wanted, go where you want. Fans could just merge where they want, and it was like kind of like that 3,000 fans just all around. And It was like we won the league. I managed to score last season. We won 2-1. We went on. I think it was like we went 15 games unbeaten. We won 15 games in a row to actually win the league. And the team at the end of the league was the team that was in second, and we actually they were leading. We beat them. We had to beat them to win the league, and we literally beat them in the last game of the season 2-1.
Wow, that's some proper Roy of the Rovers stuff. That isn't it?
So basically, your striker career started with them trying to stop you from 2-foot tackling people.
Basically, yeah, that was it. Yeah, stop doing the tackling. Try and give them
getting as far away. Yeah.
It didn't work because I got loads of sending offs after that. But I think that was the aim. But yeah, it was just weird. But that gave me the little taste of like I hadn't missed professionally like that scenario. But when I'd actually played in front of that crowd, I was like, I could get used to like this. And there's quite a lot of talk of like teams going to have a punt, and they were talking about Carlisle having a little go at me. And it was funny enough that the guy I ended up signing for Halifax because the guy who I ended up going into digs when in Halifax, he was from Workington, and he came up with the weekend, but he was good friends with Mark Lillis and Peter Butler at the time at Halifax. He watched the game and rang Halifax and said, you need to get your money out, whatever it takes, go and sign this kid. And that's literally how it worked. He was literally having a few pints with his brother watching the game, rang his mate, you need to sign this kid for like 10 grand or whatever it was.
And you were like 18 at this point, like you were literally a kid.
Yeah, 18. So that's literally how it worked. You went, go and sign him, we were like, you'd be fine. And that was it. Like literally finished the league, and then with a few weeks later, I was a tyre fitter and that at the time, I think, which is quite well documented. And that was it. Got a phone call like Halifax want to sign you, where you go, kind of thing. It's the most bizarre like scenario. All because there's 2 times I've been lucky. The 2 times I've been lucky was that guy getting pissed in the bar and watching the game, and the second time was when I went to Sheffield Wednesday, which we'll get onto in a little bit. Two times in my life I've been so lucky, and both of the times resulted in me getting moves, which is weird, really.
All right, well, carry on, Ben. Go on, mate. I bet you're burgeoning.
Yeah. So between Halifax and Quinta Wednesday, you also had a spell over in Singapore as well. Me and Fudge were trying to work out how to pronounce the name of the side.
Sengkang Marine.
Yeah.
That's probably closer than we both.
They're now even worse for you. It's Hougang Hools now at the moment. It was weird. I'd gone back to when I went to Halifax. So I'd signed a Halifax in the summer, and we had done that, and we'd had a season. I'd had 1 season basically there, and then it was the start of the second season. We've been a pre-season, so that was my first pre-season. I had a really good pre-season. There was loads of hype about me going to play this year. I was going to start because obviously we'd come through transition. I was going to play, and my mum and dad had gone on. I was supposed to be on holiday with them. Oh no, sorry, it was the first season. So my first season, I was supposed to go on holiday with them, and obviously I said I can't because it's all booked, and I can't go on that Halifax kind of pre-season thing. And they got back on August, and my dad had got a DVT in his leg, so he got like a blood clot. So I was like, all right, must have been flying, and just put it down to flying. I didn't think anything of it. And he got another one, and he got another one, and they couldn't get rid of it. So I was like training, but no one was really telling me what was going on with like everything was going on. It was kind of all kept a little bit, don't tell Grant, kind of he's busy kind of thing. And then I was doing pre-season. We played a pre-season game about the August, and it was just before the season started, the week before. Done really well in the game, but the manager gave us 2 days off. So I'd gone back to Carlisle to find out what had gone on. I went to my mum's house, no one was in. I was like, oh, that's a bit weird. No, normally someone's in. I might be at work, but I don't think they're at work. And then I went to my girlfriend's, who's now my wife's house, And she was like, "What are you doing home?" Because I hadn't told anyone I was coming home. I was like, "Oh no, I just came back, see how everything is, blah blah. I've got 2 days off." And she went, "Have you seen your mum or anyone?" I was like, "No, I haven't. Why?" And she went, "No, they're up the hospital. You need to go up the hospital, I think." And I was like,
Jesus.
"Right, okay." And basically what happened was he got taken into hospital. So he got took to hospital with no one to tell me. He went up to the hospital, and obviously mum and that was everyone was shocked. Obviously when I walked in, because no one was trying to tell me what was going on. And they literally just found out that day that he got cancer.
Oh God, mate.
So it was kind of that boom moment of like reality check of like life's now, the world's just about to change for the next few months and find out where we're going. And we didn't know where they're going. Obviously I know why they didn't tell me, because obviously I was trying to forge out a career now, and I was quite well fair enough for understanding me. Dad was like, "Oh, what are you doing here? Get yourself back to football." And the way he was,
Bless him.
He was the one that was all about football. And that was kind of the rock, really. I kind of went back to Halifax after that, and as a young kid, like I was supposed to start. I didn't turn in for the week because obviously I was back up in Carlisle, so it kind of took a few more days, and it kind of got in the middle of like playing, really.
Okay.
And ended up going down. Obviously, he was doing his treatment, so I'd gone down and we're trying to find out what had worked out. Played our first game was on the bench. Obviously, a few other ones. Then we turned out that obviously we knew that the cancer needed to get treatment and stuff like that. Without going too far, we lasted, and he had a stroke in the middle of just before he was supposed to chemotherapy. And this was all in the mix of us finding out, kind of thing. And that was basically it. I found out that I was kind of training, but not really there. As you are, you're in the floaty clouds up there.
Yeah, I was going to ask, did that kind of affect your performance and just constantly playing your head? Because there aren't many things that are bigger than football when you're a footballer, I assume, and that's one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, anything to do with the family or anything like that, the kids or anything like that. It becomes, when you're on the football pitch, it's fine because your head's kind of on the football pitch. You've got no other choice. But as soon as you stepped off it, my mind was floating. And how was my mum? How was my sister, my brother? How was everyone getting on? How was my dad? Kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about 3 weeks later when they were trying to do all the things to get rid of it. And the managers, we'd lost. I think we'd lost something like 4 games in the first 7 or something like that. We hadn't started off well, and I basically got the phone call. I always remember I kept coming back from training, and it was in the middle of the strike. Remember the fuel strike?
Yeah,
the massive one where it was like
where they blocked off the motorways with the.
Yeah, everything was done. Everything was shut. There was no fuel anywhere. No one could get anything, and they had a Renault Clio at the time. I knew this Renault Clio could go so long, and I came back from training, and I went past the petrol station. I thought, well, no, I don't need to fill up, even though there's something else. I'm all right. I've got enough kind of petrol, kind of thing, thinking I don't need it. I got back and literally my phone rang, and my mum saying, like, you need to come home. My dad's had a stroke. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yes.
I literally went to the petrol station I went back to was now shut because there's no fuel left.
Yeah.
I had about a quarter and a half of tank of petrol. I'm thinking, I might not get home here. I'm just going to have to, like, go. So I jumped in the old Clio anyway. Jumped in the car. I literally had to sit on like the M61, M62, M6 at like 50 miles an hour, thinking I'm going to have to try and like limit where I'm going. I was literally, as I'm doing it, obviously, as long as the police don't listen, I was literally like on your phone, trying to find out where the next fuel stop is, if anyone's found anything.
And this is before voice to text. I mean, we're talking Nokia 3330, aren't we?
This is like old school, like trying to ring to like see who knew where stuff was and that. And luckily, I'd gone to about, it was just past Lancaster. I was just about to go past Lancaster Services, and I thought, oh, I'll just try it because it's obviously one of the main ones. Luckily, I got in. I had none left, no petrol whatsoever left. I had like, nobody tells you like 0. Luckily, I managed to get in. I just managed to fill up and get the petrol, and I managed to get home. And obviously, I rang the manager and told him everything that had gone on, and obviously he'd had his stroke. And then I rang them up and said, oh, look, can we do something? I don't think I'm going to be back. It doesn't look good. And luckily, I managed to get a loan back to working like the next day.
Mm-hmm.
I went back to working for a month's loan while everything was going on. And my dad, bless him, lasted about another 3 weeks, and then he passed away.
Oh, Jesus.
And it
So
was
all that time, all those highs you've gone through in your career that we'll get to, you know, that must be something that sticks in your craw a little bit, that your father didn't get to experience that with you.
Yeah, massively. He got to see me play one game. We played Swansea, and it was my first debut, and I was on the bench. And this was before it all kicked. It was just before the end of the season, and he got to see me play for 5 minutes. He drove 7 hours to Swansea from Carlisle, and got in, and I got a sub for 5 minutes. So he seen me play 5 minutes at Swansea, which you can make of that what you will. I always think, well, at least he's seen one. Do you know what I mean? I managed to score for Halifax in the League Cup game just before he passed away, so he managed to see that in the telly as well. So, because he wanted to come to the game, but he was too ill to come. So it's always one of them things. It's difficult, but this was the escalation of the Singapore, what we're getting to, and everything. Like that.
I'm trying. Yeah, there's a segue here, isn't there?
Yeah, so it's coming full circle. So basically, what happened was I'd gone back for a loan for a month at Workington. Then he got it. So I'd done my month. They were like, "What's going on?" And I'd signed it. Then I went, "Well, my mum was struggling. She wasn't getting through it that well. She was obviously working at the same time." And I think you don't realise obviously the bigger picture until it actually happens to you. With obviously, and now she's a mother with 3 kids, but obviously my sister was only 16 then, working. She's lost the main wage, the householder, and everything like that. So he was trying to stop that. So I ended up going back for 3 months in the end. After about another month, I was there 2 months. The manager at the time, Mark Lillis, who was fantastic, and Peter Butler got the sack. So I'd gone from like losing my dad, being alone. The manager got sacked.
Wow.
I rang them up about a month later, said, "Look, I need to come back from working because my head was all over the place. I was drinking like you would and going out and not really concentrating on football. I wasn't training. I was just doing everything that I wouldn't do." So I said, "I need to get away. I need to get back." So I literally turned back up to Halifax. I was back in the building about 2 weeks. Paul Bracewell was the manager at the time, took over. And pulled me in after 2 weeks of being back and said, "Look, just to let you know, you weren't good enough. You ain't going to be part of my plans. I understand what's happened with your dad and stuff, and things maybe changed for you and stuff, but I just don't see it. You're not good enough to play in the league." So I was like, right, okay, interesting.
Jesus.
And then it's one of them things, though. It's like once you hear that, you learn quickly as a young kid that football's ruthless.
Yeah.
People haven't got time to wait for you. They haven't got time to look after you because you're in a bad place or something's going on. They haven't got that time. And I was very fortunate. I had been on loan to, I don't know if it's in your notes, I've been on loan to Barrow about a year before for 1 month. I've been on loan for a month. And there's a guy, Kenny Lowe, who's now in Australia. He used to be the Perth Glory manager.
Yeah.
I rang him up and said, "Look, Ken, I've got a chance of going out on loan." And I said, I've got a chance of going on loan here. And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "I think they're going to go on loan." He said, "Oh, I know. What I'll do is I'll make it permanent and I'll do it today." So I was like, "Right." I said, "What do you mean?" He went, "I'll do it today." He said, "How much wages do you want?" So I said, "Oh, I'm on about 175 quid. He went, "Right, done." He said, "I'll give you 175 quid now. I'll ring the manager, pack your bags, get all your boots, get your stuff. You're playing Saturday. Putting you straight back in."
Jesus.
And that was literally the conversation. So this was on the Wednesday. So on the Thursday, literally, Kenny rings me back up. I'm now at home. I've not even spoke to Halifax. No one's rang me. So Kenny Rawlings me and said, "Right, don't forget, you're in the game Saturday. I've told them they're a pack of CUNTs, and I'll see you at the weekend." And that was it. I'd gone back to Barrow.
Did you ever go back to Halifax after that conversation? Did you ever go back just say, I'm just checking it's all right, lads, you know what I mean?
Never went back. No one rang me. Just the secretary rang me to say, "You need to sign these forms." Literally signed the forms, and that was it. I was done. Back to Barrow.
Fuck them then. They're lost. You know what I mean?
It was literally a bit of that, yeah. And then obviously I've gone back to Barrow with Kenny, and it was just one of the things, when someone just does that for you, someone just does it, takes everything out your thing, you're like, and it's just I've done it, I've told them this, I've sorted it, here's your money, don't worry about we'll sort it out kind of thing. And it was a bit, you'd just lost your dad. It was like a father figure just stepped in and went, "Right, go fuck them," kind of thing. And he just came in and said, "Look, there's one or two ways you can do it. You can either fuck your career off now and not worry about your career and just your dad's presence or whatever's gone, or you can just go and make him proud now." So he use his energy, get on the pitch, run around like a lunatic like you used to do, like you will, and you'll have a career, and then shove it up their ass when you do it. And that was basically it. So that was basically the scenario. So I signed for Barrow, and I went to the end of the season, and the manager at the time, who was the assistant manager at Halifax, had gone to Australia. This is how the whole fucking thing
I end up the other side of the world. Because already, I mean, Carlisle is miles away from anywhere.
Anywhere, yeah.
You were in Halifax, and then you've gone to Barrow. I mean, you're now a 4-day camel ride away now, aren't you?
And now we live in Norwich, which is even further away. It's like the sublet. So anyway, he'd gone to Australia. So he'd rang me up and said, "Oh, do you want to come and have a look what Australia's like? Because Perth Glory is a good team. You've got a great chance of getting a career. Blah blah. Do you want to come and have a look?" So I'd gone out to Perth. I'd gone out to Perth for a month, and I played for a team called Sorrento for 1 month, and I trained there, and I was like, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought, well, there's a chance to go to Perth Glory, but I just had a niggling thing that there was something not left to do in England. So I was like, I need to go back. I'm good enough to go back and play. So anyway, I came back to England, and I thought I'm going to have one good year with Barrow. I had a really good year with Barrow. I'd started training at Carlisle as well in the Minx because Roddy Collins and that were there. And I was doing a few trial games, and they were looking to sign me. And at the end of the year, the manager rang me. He was at Australia. He'd gone to Singapore and said to me, "Look, do you want to come to Singapore?" And I was like, well, I was thinking, well, I'm only working in the factory, so it's like this is an easy life. And he said, well, I said I'm with Barrow till May, and then I can come June, July, and August, and we'll take it from there. And I just thought I'll go and use it as a really good pre-season. And do you know something? It was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, I'm just looking at your career and the way it goes after that. It really changes, doesn't it, after that brief period?
Do you know what it was? Because pre-seasons are shit.
Yeah, a lot of running.
Yeah, everything I hated is pre-season.
Yeah, you've turned up to training. There's no footballs out. That was the worst bit.
Head's gone. That was basically me. Put me on a football pitch, I will run like till the death, till I lose, kind of thing. That I'll just keep going. Put me in a running drill, I can't stand it. So I just thought I'll use it as pre-season. So my wife was with me, and I said, "Do you want to come to?" She was 17, and I said, "Do you want to go to Singapore for 4 months?" And like stupidly, she said yes. So we ended up going to Singapore for 4 months. And the only reason I came back was I'd spoke to Carlisle at the time in the middle of it and said, "Look, I'm going to Singapore." And they're like, "Look, we're in an embargo. We can't sign you. We want to sign you, but we can't sign you because we're in this embargo. As soon as that embargo is finished, we'll ring you up and come back. We'll sign you."
This is Carlisle.
The Carlisle, yeah.
Well, hometown club. You know, you knew your mum and the rest of it and all. You know what I mean?
Happy. Always wanted to play for them. All my friends were there. Everyone's a Carlisle fan. I'd already agreed the wages. That was all agreed. Everything was done. All he was waiting on was the embargo to finish and they were going to sign me. I told the guy in Singapore, Trevor Morgan, at the time, this is the deal. If Carlisle ring, I'm going back. Yeah, that's fine. So anyway, I had 3.5 months, done really well, done well at the club. But I used it as pre-season. We're training like 40-degree heat every day. Literally, you literally like train, have a shower, walk out and you needed a shower. That's how hot it was. It was like a constant, just a drip fest, constantly going thing.
Carlisle must have been Baltic then when you went back.
Oh my God, yeah. Going back from that I was all right with summer. We do get the odd 22 degrees in Carlisle every now and again.
No, you don't.
I went to Carlisle 2 years ago for FA Cup third round, and it were about 6th of January. So
it's that road. You've got that one road that just goes into nowhere. That just like, you know what I mean. And then
it's of death.
Yeah, and they all call it Barrow Infernus, and I'm like, I always thought it was finesse, but that was my shit kicker northernness kicking in. You know what I mean?
You're not northern. Everyone says this. You aren't northern. We are.
Yeah.
Anyone below Preston's not northern for me.
Fair enough.
So I'd literally done the Singapore thing. So I'd been there for 4 months, and the phone rings, Carlisle, all done, embargo's finished, get yourself back, deals agreed, blah, blah. I said, right, okay, send the forms over. By the time you get there, we'll do them when you get back. They paid for the flights. I got back, landed on the Saturday, expected to sign on the Monday. Oh, the forms aren't ready yet. The embargo's just getting signed off. I was like, oh, here we fucking go.
Yeah.
Coming here. Back a week, nothing. Played against Celtic on the Saturday at Brunton Park, scored 2. We then played Newcastle in a friendly during the week. I scored again. So I've scored 2 against Celtic, 1 against Newcastle. We're now into the 3rd week. I'm thinking, come on, what's going on here? I was like, I didn't even need pre-season. These boys are doing running. I was like absolutely blitzing it because I was fit as a fiddle. I was like, this is easy. Running them temperatures compared to where it was. I got to the month, I said, and literally I was like 3 weeks. And I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, we're not sure we're going to get the deal. I went, you've got to this afternoon to do the deal. I'm going back to Barra. I've already spoke to Kenny Lowe and he's agreed everything. And he's like, oh, don't do that. And literally, I said, no, you've got to tomorrow till 3 o'clock, and and that's me done. And they didn't come. I went back to Barra. Literally signed back for Barra, and then.
What changed the mind? Did you ever get that feedback? You know what I mean? Did you ever get that reason why they never made the deal?
I got the reason once. Roddy Collins smacked me in the ribs when I was at Rochdale. I walked out the change room door. They were signing Paddy McCourt at the time, back in Shamrock Rovers. He'd gone there, and I literally walked out the door, and I felt this like left hook coming to my ribs. Jesus Christ! Like, didn't have a clue who it was. Looked round, I was just about to give him some. Realised it was Roddy Collins. He's like, "Oh, you big man." I was like, "Ah." Oh. He's like, "The one I missed out on." Jesus, he said, "What was I thinking?" And blah blah. They had a little window to sign a couple of players. He thought he needed a few other people, and I wasn't the one that was like the necessity. And obviously that backfired for the big stars. So
I was going to say, knowing where your career goes over the next 18 years, you know what I mean? To these stories you've said about I didn't fancy it and this geezer let me go here and all this, you've delivered some big fuck yous to 2 clubs, and it's only 2002. Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing, isn't it? It's like, but it's always opinions. Football's always the same thing. You don't mind if you're a fan, a chairman, a manager. Someone's always got opinion. 3 times Carlisle that signed me. The first time they could have, or 4 times, could have had us as a kid, and obviously that didn't work out. They had the Roddy Collins where they could have got us for nothing. I had. I was at Nottingham Forest, and I could go on loan. So they wanted to send me on loan. I went to Blackpool. Carlisle said, no, we don't need him. So they didn't take me, even though I've been offered to them. So they could have had me for free. Forest were going to let me go, and they went, no. I then went to Shrewsbury for 175 grand. Carlisle could have had me for 150. They went, nah, it's too much money. It's not worth it. So so that 150 grand they would have spent. A year later, Shrewsbury sold me for 400 to Norwich with a sell on if I got in the Premier League and this that, and the other. So they could have made about £1 million, but they didn't.
I was going to say,
yeah, and but the only thing they got was nothing really. But it was. Do you know something though? In hindsight, though, it's one of them things. For me, it was perfect. I went back to Barrow 3 months later. I'd gone on loan. I always remember the day that they rang me up to go to Sheffield Wednesday. I always remember the day. I'd gone on loan to Halifax. I'd gone on trial to Halifax. I'd done 1 trial since that thing. Halifax rang me and said, we want you to come on trial. We had a game on a Tuesday night against Hyde. And I drove...
Sorry, they wanted you to go back to Halifax after fucking you off after your father's passing?
You say Halifax there? Exeter.
Yeah.
No,
Exeter.
Sorry. Jesus.
It had an X in it.
Exeter. So I'd gone... I didn't really want to do trials anymore. I'd done it. I'd been at Carlisle, got fucked off, and I thought, I don't really want to do it. Exeter were pestering me to go on this trial. So I was like, right, okay, I'll come. We've got a game. I said, I'm only coming if it's a game. I'm not coming training and any of that shit. I'll show you what it's like in a game. You either take me or you leave me. That was basically it. I'd gone to the factory. I was working at the factory at the morning. So I'd done 6 to 2 shift in the morning on the old lorry driving when I was in the factory then. So I'd done 6 to 2. I'd finished. I went home, got a shower, got my stuff ready for to go to Exeter the next day. I left. I had a game at Hyde on the Tuesday night. So I drove to Hyde, played the game, played there, scored, and then finished the game at 10 o'clock. Then I drove all the way to Exeter that night. Got in the hotel at 2 a.m, jumped into bed. I had to be up in the morning because they had like a briefing for the game, and the game was at 12 o'clock. So I'd done that, got up, played the game, scored in the game. I'd done really well, actually. We beat them 2-0. The team were playing, the manager and everyone was there watching. I drove back, got back in the house about 8 o'clock or whatever, had a bit of food, jumped into bed because I had to be up in the morning for 6 o'clock. So I got into bed, jumped up in the morning, got in the factory about 6 o'clock, absolutely fucking knackered because I'd been obviously the night before. Got in, done the job, got home at 2:30, sat in the house, flicked the telly on the old Sky Sports News, comes up on the bottom of the bar, Exeter manager sacked. So I was like,
it's a curse.
Honestly, I was like, this was the chair. I was like literally getting further and further down this chair, thinking like, my luck in football is probably like the worst thing you've.
I've got to ask you, Grant, did you get out of bed or did you go, well, fuck that then, and just roll over in bed?
No, I was
literally
sat on the couch thinking like, my luck is fuck. 'Cause I knew I'd played well. I knew I played well. I'm thinking, oh, I've got a right chance of getting like offered somewhere. But I was thinking like Exeter's another one. For some reason, I get attracted to like places that are absolutely miles away.
Miles away.
Miles away. Because there's another one. I didn't even put that. No one reads anyone. I went to trial at Torquay when I was 16. They were another one. I went trial at Torquay at 16, and same thing. Centre forward said, "Oh, you're not good enough. We don't think you're going to make it." That was another one I missed out. Just keep adding them to the list. So it's like I have no lucky trials. So this way I'm getting. So I have no lucky trials whatsoever. So I came back to Kenny Lowe. Said to Kenny Lowe, if anyone rings me for a trial, I'm done. I'm not going. I'm not unless someone comes and goes bang. I'm gonna bid and have you. Like I ain't going anywhere. So this.
And you're at Barrow-in-Furness at this point.
I just had enough. I was pissed off. I was on good money. I was working every day. I was on decent money at Barrow. I was getting good win bonus. So I was like, I'm quite comfortable here. Obviously, you can get a house in Carlisle for 50 grand. That's 5-bedroom mansion. So we're all right. We don't need to move many places. And I just had enough. And I remember walking in. I always remember Tuesday night I walked in. I walked in the doors. My mum came to the game. She would always just come drive me over. So I walked in the game. And someone said, the manager wants to see you. So I walked into Kenny's office. Kenny, just to let you know you're not playing tonight. I went, you having a fucking laugh? I've just scored I've scored 7 in 10 games. I was like, you're taking the piss. He's like, nah, you're going on trial tomorrow. I was like, nah. I said, we've had this debate. He said, I'm not doing it. I said, I don't give a shit who it is, where it is, what it is. I'm not going. He went, well, I'm just telling you, I give a shit if you don't give a shit. And I'm telling you, you are going tomorrow. You've got a trial at Sheffield Wednesday. You're playing at Hillsborough. You've got to be there at 2:00 tomorrow. So you can watch the game and get away. I've already rang your boss. This is what I talk about with him.
He's already rang the gaffer.
He'd already rang my boss at the factory and told him I won't be in. Like without even telling me. So he got the number for the factory, rang up to find out where it was of my mum, which thing, rang the guy and said to him, Grant won't be in tomorrow. He's going for a trial at Sheffield Wednesday. So just to let you know, if he has to do a sickie or whatever, do a sickie. So I was like, fucking hell. So I was like, yeah, Sheffield Wednesday, Hillsborough at 2:00. Well, I always laugh at the fans because Hillsborough to me is like massive. It's huge. Yeah. Like obviously, because everything that's gone on in the past and the club itself. I always remember going there. We done it when I was at Halifax. Actually, we went to the training ground. It was like when the big boys were all in there and everyone, the cars and the thing, and going on the ground and this and the other. And it's like a massive thing. So when you hear them words like Sheffield Wednesday, you start thinking, oh God, this is like starting to get a bit serious. And and that was it. Literally. So I came out though, and as I came out, the team sheets obviously came. Half the crowd's now thinking, hang on a minute, what's going on here? I'm like now walking to my man was in the stand, and obviously there's like, because it's old school ground, you walk past all the fans. So everyone's like, why aren't you playing? I'm like, they're injured, and I'm like walking like. Everyone's like, he definitely isn't injured. I'm just walking like normally up the thing. Yeah.
Putting a limp on.
Because my mum's like quite like chatty. She's like, what's going on? Like, and I'm like, Mum, you're in the director's box. Shut up, kind of thing. I was like, I was trying to be discreet and going like, I'll tell you later on. But and then she's like, what? And I was like, I'll tell you later. She's like, what are you going on about? Why is he not playing? I'm like, I'm just thinking, shut up. So I was trying to leave. The thing is, I couldn't even leave to get to bed early because one of the guys, Graham Anthony, used to be at Sheffield United and stuff, and he never drove. So He was in the car school because he was from Carlisle. We used to drive. He's the only man I know that never drove for his whole career, and then he finished playing football and he got a driving license. I was like, absolute genius. Absolute genius.
So he never bought one of them big flashy cars then, I guess.
Never had one. But I couldn't even leave early to get to bed to go to Sheffield the next day because he was in the car school and I couldn't leave in Barrow. So I had to wait till the game finished at like 10 o'clock. Then I drove home, got home at 12, and then obviously I had to get to bed and then get up to go to Hillsborough the next day. So I'd gone from like being at Barrow-in-Furness. Next minute I'm walking into Hillsborough the next morning.
So you've got to Hillsborough. It's the day after you've done the lift. You know what I mean? You've done the carpool. So what was waiting for you at Hillsborough then? I mean, obviously you must have changed your mind on trials when you're going up something like, how many leagues were you leaping up?
I think it was 8, wasn't it? Championship it was.
Yeah. And so, and we were having a shit time of it at the time, weren't we? We weren't great.
Yeah, near the bottom, bottom. So it wasn't done. It was a full relegation battle. This was, so I remember turning up, and obviously I hadn't a clue where to park. Because obviously as a fan, you know where to park. You always park down the bottom, you walk up and you go in. So I didn't have a clue. So we kind of got there, didn't know. Someone said, go to the main glass reception. So I did. And like, oh my God, I'm now like walking in. And then it's like any ground. When you're in the stand, you don't appreciate how big it is until you walk in the middle. As soon as you walk in the middle of a pitch and you look backwards, you realise how big the bloody place is. And remember going in and meeting and hiya, not good to see you, blah, blah, go downstairs, we'll take you in, or there's a ticket for you. And it was my wife and my mum at the time. I got a ticket to come and watch. And my wife hates football, so it's probably the worst hour and a half of her life. And I just walked down. I remember going to dressing rooms and thinking like, wow, this dressing room is bigger than a lot of the dresses we've been in before. And it just got an aura about it, hasn't it? It's so big. You just got an aura. You do think back to all the games you've seen and everything that's gone on with it. I remember just getting in there and getting ready and walking out in the warm-up and like literally walking out. Because trials are hard. You haven't got a clue who anyone is. You're playing with the reserves. A lot of the lads are younger. You don't really know who they are. And I remember just walking into the middle going, oh my God, this is like massive. And the pressure just went from 0 to about 1,000. Because I'm now like thinking, I want this. I probably wanted it more when I stepped out, more than I ever did when I was driving down. And even it was empty. So you start visualizing, well, this is empty. So imagine it was like 35,000 in there. So yeah, and that was it. Pressure was just like up to 1,000. I actually played the game, done all right. Didn't score, but I had a couple of chances. Done what I'd done, ran around like a bit of a lunatic, like I would do when I was younger, and that was that really. And then I got.
So, as you as a player on the pitch, were you the young lively kid in your early 20s, and then you turned into the battering ram, like, you know what I mean?
I was a bit of both really. I was a bit non-league. Look, from the age of 15, I was playing on a 15 on a weekend. I'd play Saturday afternoon under 16s. I'd then get up on a Sunday morning and go and play in my brother's men's team, who were like all the old cigarettes and vape and deep heat. I was 15-year-old playing men's football on a Sunday morning.
Back on at half time.
Yeah, a little bag in that. Not me, obviously, but they were. Playing men's football, and then I'd play that game, and on a Sunday afternoon, I'd then go and play for like the under-18s game. So I was playing with men. So I was getting bigger and stronger. I was good at using my body quite well, always from an age. A lot when I was younger, I used to do a lot more channel runs or daft runs because I could run all day. And it's as you get older, you learn how to do different stuff and change little bits and tweaks.
And not run around as much.
Yeah, we'll learn when to run and when not to run. That's the key. But yeah, it was literally like flyer all over. So I'd done all right, and I'd done the game, and I was a little bit disappointed because I thought I should have scored really, and my finishing wasn't really on it. And I went home thinking whatever it is. Met them afterwards, and Colin West had said, "Oh, we'll be in touch and lovely to meet you," and blah blah. And they're polite enough anyway. And I came out thinking, not so sure. And then I got home and I got a phone call off. Was it like the afternoon or whatever? I got a phone call and said, "Oh no, I want you to go for another trial on Tuesday." They were playing Newcastle, and I was like, "All right, okay." So I was like, "Well, I'm gonna have to book the day off work, and it's another lost day of money and blah blah." So I'm like crying it in and this and the other. So I was like, "That's fine. As long as it's definitely Tuesday, that's fine." So I booked the day off work. I thought I'll do it properly this time. So I booked the day off work. Made sure I'd chilled out the night before. Prep properly, drank properly, ate properly, done everything like you'd think a proper back when I was at Halifax, just to give myself the best opportunity. I got over there early so I could have a walk around, not get stretched and this, that, and the other. But they rang me on the Monday and said, "Oh, we don't want you to play in the game on Tuesday now. We want you to come all the way down to Hillsborough on Friday. We've got a game against Birmingham." And I was like, "No." I was like,
I know. I've been eating pasta for the last 2 days.
I was like, "No." I said, I booked the day off. I've already done my plans. I said, I can't afford to keep pissing around with the factory and that. So it's either Tuesday or I ain't coming back. You need to make your decision. So they're like, "Oh, that's fine. Go on Tuesday then." So I went on Tuesday. So they're like, "Just do the Tuesday game." Turned up this game and it was all the kids. So like John Shaw, Richard Wood, all that kind of them lads, all the younger ones. It was just a young group who were all there. And then obviously I was only young then as well. And literally we sat there and this team sheet came out. And it was like Marcelo, Loa, Shaka Hislop, the two Calderwood brothers. Who else was in there? There was literally was like a full squad. They had like a game and they were all in there with Shola Miobi was up front. They had a whole squad out. And we're looking at this team thinking, we're going to get absolutely battered of this team. Absolutely battered. And we literally got a 0-0.
Oh, really?
And that, like, I I don't think I got one shot at all. I don't think I got anything. But all we done was run around like lunatics and pressed and worked and harried and got a few corners, and that was probably about our joy. We got this 0-0. And I was thinking, well, I haven't scored, but I've done really well in the game. So if that gets fed back to wherever it needs to be, then I'll be quite happy. And he obviously did. He went back and they'd mentioned it and stuff. And then I'd heard that Chris Turner wanted to come and see me in a game properly. So him and Colin West were coming to the game on the Saturday. We had a non-league. I think it was Matt. Was it Matt? I was someone down there. I can never remember who it was. Oh no, was it Harry, whoever it was? And they were coming to the game. And this is where like the fortunes. So we playing this game. So kicked off. I was obviously nervous, and everyone knows why. The thing is about it, we're near Sheffield. They're coming to watch the game. The home fans know obviously they're there for a reason. Mm-hmm. All our away fans know why they're there, because obviously I've been on a trial and it's been documented. So everyone knows why they're at this match. So the pressure just goes again, because you're now thinking, oh my God, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. So the game started, we're about 15 minutes in. Our defender hit this big channel ball over the top. And I've gone after him thinking, I'm never getting it, but I'll just go and see what the goalkeeper does. And as I'm running through him, it must have been about 25 yards out, this goalkeeper came. He spanked the ball. It hit me square in the nose. I kid you not, square in the nose. I've gone down, literally like claret everywhere. I'm literally down. Next minute, everyone jumps on me. It hit me square in the nose and went right in the net. And I'm like,
played for it.
Literally, everyone's jumping on me. I'm like, what are you doing? It's gone in. I'm like, I can't. I literally was like, I was full of blood everywhere. Obviously, in the Barra days, it was like the old two things up.
Yeah.
Sorted. And then the player these up the nose, and I'm like, literally, my nose was like, honestly, it was massive. Eyes were puffed up and everything. Managed to play on, and in the second half, this cross came in, and as the cross came in, I could just about see it because I couldn't, and I've like missed it. And as I missed it, it's like literally got on shoulder, right in the stanch. But because obviously where Chris Turner and that were there,
it looks like you've absolutely smashed it.
Look, it's the best header that's gone in the stanchion ever, and it looks like it's gone in. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like fluid. I said, I'm all that little bit of luck, because obviously they decided this one day we're coming back to you.
Yeah, all those sack managers, all those
everyone thought it was crap. Everyone's like, the whole energy just came back and give me a little bit of luck.
And it's a club that's in the middle of the country that you've not got to do a 4-day camel ride to at any point,
which is rare. I can actually get 2 hours, which is like rare.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was literally it. I played the game. Never heard anything, and then I kid you not, I was in a freezer, minus 40 degrees in my stacker with the heater on, and I was in the middle of putting this $2,500. I always remember it. £2,500 of salmon I was putting on this top shelf, 40 foot in this stacker. So I'm putting the stacker up. Just as I get to the top to like flip it, my phone rings, and I'm thinking, I don't know. So my phone rings, but I'm thinking I need to put this off. I could see it ringing. So I was like, anyway, put it down, drop this bit of salmon thing in, just about to bring my thing down, 4 rings again. So I'm like, picked it up and I'm like, hello. I was like, I'll have to call you back. I've got no reception. I'm in, like, and he's like, what? I'm like, I'll call you back. So I put the phone down, reversed out, got out the chiller, and literally I was sat in my stacker in the middle of the dock, and it was Chris Turner. Like, hi, Gran. I was like, hi, who is this? He's like, it's Chris Turner. And I was like, oh, hi, thanks for calling. And I'm thinking,
yeah.
And that was literally it. He rang me and said, look, we think you've been great. We're pleased with everything you want to do. We think you've got a good chance, good opportunity, and we want to have you at the football club. So these are the terms. If you want to do it, and then get back in touch with us and let us know what you think. And that was it. And I was sat in the factory looking around going, well, I'm not going to have to do you for a few more years now anyway.
Okay, now, yeah, no salmon moved again.
Yeah, never made. So many mates who were there at the time, and they're like, look, don't work your notice, get the fuck out of the factory, don't come back. So
yeah. We'll be pissed off at you if we see you again.
Yeah, and that was basically it. Yeah, and that was the journey. So, but it's funny, the whole thing came back. I said about the 2 luckiest times at the start about people seeing me. Bill Green, bless him, who passed away. He was the one that scouted me. He came up we were playing Bishop Auckland on the Saturday. He came up because he was at a christening on the Sunday, because he was obviously the chief scout at the time. He came up to go to a christening, and one of his friend's sons was playing for Bishop Auckland. So he thought, oh, well, I'm here. I'll just take in a game, and literally took in the game. I scored a hat-trick, and that was literally how it all started. He watched me, seen me play, and he put an information going, someone needs to keep watching this boy, and that was off the back of that. Yeah, so it was 2 times he got.
Wow.
If he hadn't been there, I probably would have never got the move really.
So that's 2 strokes of luck then, you know what I mean? But it's all around Sheffield Wednesday. Now, Holly had some burgeoning questions to ask you about the Wednesday. So go on, Holly.
No, it wasn't about Wednesday. It were about after that, but I can ask it if you want.
Go for it.
It was just about when you left Wednesday, so I can come back to it if you want.
We'll come back to that. I tell you what, then, yeah. So we'll go for your time at Wednesday. So now, what I did, Grant, I started to try and make a list of strikers that Sheffield Wednesday have used poorly. And you know what I mean? Because it's quite an extensive list.
But see how long that list takes.
Yeah, because like people who have gone from being a prolific goal scorer to go to Wednesday and then be shite, or underused or used poorly, or then go on to be a world beater after. You know what I mean? You're on that list. You've got Andy Booth, Jordan Rhodes before this season. You know what I mean? You've got Heffernan we had from Doncaster, Adam Proudlock, Benny Kofobi, Sam Winnell, Cresswell, DP80, Leon Clark. You know, there is an absolute universe of strikers that Sheffield Wednesday have used badly. And when you look back on your time and the players that were in front of you when you were trying to break into that squad, do you look back and think that that's what I deserved at the time, or did you sit there and think I could have done a better job than that?
No, I think it was pretty true actually when I was there. I think what happened with me was I could have easily sit for another year, easily been there and probably developed even better. But I'd been playing football like a barrow, week in, week out. I learned so much. Like I always say to people, Sheffield Wednesday made my career because I was very fortunate that I had people like Lloyd Owusu there who I could nick loads of, Big Chef Kikuchi, Adam Proudlock, and then, like I said, the man that I learned more off in 2 months, Mark Robbins, than anyone I've ever met.
Really?
Just watching him. That shaped my career. The trouble I had was Chris Turner was under too much pressure to get them back up the league. That was the trouble I had. I think when I went there, me and Michael Reddy, who ended up going up front at the end of the season, and obviously I scored my first goal, give the penalty away, and we both got relegated, which wasn't the greatest start of my career, but at least I scored anyway. Yeah. I should have been given the opportunity, in my opinion, that next year.
Yes. If
they'd have let me just go for it the year after, and really had a go, I would have scored goals that year without a shadow of a doubt. I'd scored goals. I don't know if you remember the game up against Burnley just before, when we got relegated. We beat them
7-2 or something.
7-2. I ran absolute riot that day and didn't even score. But the amount of assists, like getting involved in different stuff, he should have given me the opportunity the year after. But instead, obviously, he went and signed Proudy, he went and signed other ones, and that was his choice. The trouble he's just under too much pressure.
And he couldn't try a 21-year-old kid to run around up front. Like.
Yeah, and also, look, we're at a big club. The expected level, the Sheffield Wednesday fans, you are all fans. So just to be honest, if you're looking at a career and you want to get back in the Championship, but you're looking thinking, oh yeah, we'll play the 21-year-old lad from Barra.
Mm-hmm.
You want someone to come in for big money. You want to get a big sign and say, right, he's going to do the job. Pretty similar.
Lee Peacock turns up with his haircuts and his jeans, and you've gone, what the fucking hell's this?
Yeah. And that was kind of it. It was just too early for me. It was like I wanted to play, and I didn't get the game time, but I absolutely loved it. I learned so much being there. The lads were brilliant. We had a great knit group of people who used to hang around. I used to share a flat with Richard Evans, and we had all the younger ones, John Shaw and Woody and people like that, and we got on great. You know what I mean? And I enjoyed my time there. There's no doubt it. I absolutely loved it. I was
always interested in that, on how you felt about Sheffield Wednesday, because looking at your career, it was the biggest step you'd made.
Yeah, if you ever got a chance to go back, I'd have gone in a heartbeat. I'd have gone back in a heartbeat.
But we'd have had you, Grant, to be fair, mate. Looking at the numbers coming up, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was something that you mentioned as well on the Under the Cosh podcast, that if you'd just maybe hung about a few months longer, that Chris Turner went and then Stuart come in, and you said that Stuart tried to sign you a couple of times.
I think if I'd stayed put, and you never know what's going to happen. If I'd stayed put, I think he'd have used me more. Definitely, I'd have been involved a lot more. I think he'd have liked what he's seen. He's kind of in and around it. I don't know if it's true or not. But someone said they once had a buyback. They had the first dibs buyback clause by all accounts. So when I was at Rochdale, that was always a thing that they might come back and get me because they had it. I don't know if it's true or not, but
I was going to say, because at Rochdale you were getting a goal every other game. You know what I mean? Why didn't we take that up? I guess it. Go on.
You just don't know, do you? You just don't know that if it's true or not. But the thing, but that's what I said. The only reason I'd done so well at Rochdale is because what I'd learned at Sheffield Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I'd gone when you talk about the change of positions. I'd gone from a lad who used to run everywhere, be a bit of a nuisance, channel balls, do everything. I then learned off Mark Robbins that you can still do that, but also add a little bit of finesse to it and do different stuff and learn how to hold it up. I had Chef Kikuchi, who's probably the best person, and Lloyd Owusu I've ever seen jumping to win headers.
Yeah.
Because the way they'd done stuff. So even though I wasn't playing, because I'm not a person who sits in the background and goes, that's fine. I was always someone who's like, right, why is he playing? Like, how does he do that? How does Mark Robbins do that run? How does Mark Robbins always get across the near stick and put one in? Like, how does he do that? And then you ask that question, like, and then he'd say to you, slow your run down, you're going too early, you're doing this, or like ask questions, like ask Lloydie how he flicks it so well, the way he used to glance it and stuff. I used to nick it. So by the time I'd gone to like Rochdale, I'd now had all this thing, and I just need to show everyone every day. Like I need to play, and I need to know that on a Saturday I was going to play football, and I was going to play Tuesday. Not like I'm going to be in this. Oh, I'm getting 5 minutes again. And I think the Sheffield Wednesday fans seen glimpses of it in like the FA Cup games of what I could potentially be. But I didn't get any consistency because I was either going on where it was like we need a goal, and it was just too late. And I said, I think in hindsight, yeah, you'd want to stay around for 6 months, but in reality, I had another year and a half. I could have easily sat there. You only came.
So, in your opinion, do you think you were a better player when you were at Rochdale than you were at Wednesday because you'd taken all of that?
No, I just.
By that point, you were better.
I just don't think I got the consistency to show everyone at Sheffield Wednesday. That was the problem. I could have easily scored goals in that division, especially with the team we had. Jesus, what a squad we had! I could have easily done it. I just didn't get the games. I needed the games, and that's why it all came to fruition. I played a reserve game on against Bury, it was, and I played the game, and I was pissed off really because I thought I should have been in the squad on the Saturday. I didn't even get on the pitch. I'm now playing a reserve game. And I just went back out and thought, well, I'm going to play as hard as I want. I'm going to do what I want to do and not like listen to what's going on. And I scored 2 unbelievable volleys, left foot, right foot, both from the edge of the 18-yard box. And it was that moment I came in after the game and I was like, I just knew I was like, I need to leave. I need to leave the football club. I'm getting angry. I'm getting frustrated. I need to leave. I need to go on to do something different. And I walked in Chris Turner's office the next day and he's like, I know why you want to leave, don't you? I went, yeah, I need to go and play football. And he's like, we've had a few people coming in on loan for you. If you want to go on loan, I was like, no, I don't want to go on loan. I've done that before. I want to go, move, go and play, build a career. And he went, right, okay. And then literally, obviously, word must have got around of people that I could potentially move. And then Halifax came in, Rochdale came in. Keep going, Halifax. Rochdale came in and said, we'll have him, we'll give you the money. And that was it. And I went from a relegation, promotion chasing League One to relegation League Two, and I managed to keep them in.
But then, in the space of like 2 or 3 years, you're playing Premier League football. You know what I mean? Like that. I mean, I'm just conscious of time now, but I'm just thinking, can you sum up that next 3 years? So you've got Rochdale, Forest coming in, then you've got Shrewsbury, then you're at Norwich, and then in the Premier League kicking the crap out of John Terry. I mean. Yeah. It must have been a great move for you to leave. I mean, you can't look back on that time at Sheffield Wednesday and go, I should have stuck it out because look where you went after.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You got there in the end, but would I have been there sooner? That's my biggest grievance is would I have been there sooner? Mm-hmm. So I had to go back to League Two, spend 3 years at League Two to bounce back, to then go to the Championship for 2 years, to then get promoted to the Championship. Then I think when people look at it, they always think I was always in charge of my own destiny. So I chose to leave Nottingham Forest to go in the Championship, to go back to League Two to play at Shrewsbury. Because I just knew it was the right move. Yeah. And a year later, I then went to Norwich and then I spiraled up there. The biggest annoyance is that if people had seen it earlier, I could have been playing Premier League football at the age of 26, 27. And then I might have had 5, 6, 7 years there. In the end, I had 3 years there, 2 years. But I'd have had a lot longer. And that's the annoyance. That's the annoyance with it. I said, and everyone talked about the England thing. Would I have been a lot closer if I was 26, being in the Premier League, doing what I've done? because I knew I had enough ability to do it. But you've got to look at your journey as like everything else made that journey. Do you know what I mean? So that's the way you've got to think of it.
Did you ever get an explanation from Roy Hodgson as to why you didn't get picked?
No, never ever.
Did you ask him?
Well,
You have to hunt him down.
The thing that killed me in the whole thing for that, there was Capello obviously got sacked. Then there was a friendly game just before the Euros. There was a friendly game that was on. Stuart Pearce took charge of the friendly game, and he decided to call up, instead of like the other lads who were on the fringe that might get in, he decided to call up all the younger 21s because that's what he was working with. So he decided to do that. I still think if I'd played that game in the friendly, because I was on absolute fire that year, if I played that game in the friendly, I'd have got called up. The fact that I didn't was the reason I didn't get called up, really. But then
I think England make a habit of not picking people who are in form and picking for different reasons.
Yeah.
Like Antonio now.
Yeah, well, that's the FA, isn't it? So it's a model of the FA. But the thing is, it's like the way I was looking is like I was at Barrow, so I've gone from Barrow to the Premier League, and like I'm now mourning about potentially being called up for England. Yes, it's like a bugbear that you didn't, but like I was at League Two. I was in like the Championship.
Yeah, you've had one of those old school careers where you start out like you mentioned Antonio, Holly, like you know what I mean. He started at Tooting and Mitcham, and you started at Workington, and you fringes of the England squad and all the rest of it, like and playing Premier League football. You don't really get careers like that anymore. You know what I mean? You don't see them much, do you?
I think it's the 23s football. That's why it takes out. There's a lot more people get held. So like the tree doesn't get shook early enough now. So a lot of them don't fall down and come back. They stay there in the tree for a long time, and then you might get the odd one might bounce back, but we kind of all know who they are by then. I think that's the difference. When I was 18 at Halifax, if you weren't in the first team, you were gone. There was no like, we'll leave you around to your 21, 22, and then see how you get on, son. It was like, get out and go and make a career. And that's why a lot of the ones we're seeing now, it's kind of slowing down a little bit. If you look down the leagues now, you don't really see all these younger ones coming through till later on, 23s, 24s. And I think that's the difference. But as I said, for me, it's just like my career, it's just one of the things. I've been lucky, I've been fortunate. I have had a lot of football clubs, which is great because I've seen a lot of different things and I've got a lot of different views and I've seen different fans. And I try to say, even like I still muck about now and play for a team down here at Wroxham. People are like, why are you worried about, why are you playing? Why are you doing this? You play in the Premier League. I'm like, I just love football.
I tell you what, if anybody's been on holiday to the Norfolk Broad, you know exactly where Wroxham is, and there's a shop there called Roy's, and it's a big department store, and they probably sponsored a team of it.
Not anymore. But that's what people like. To me, it wasn't about. I don't need 29,000. I don't need 80,000. I've said I played at Wembley in front of 92. Like,
it's about playing football.
It's about playing football, and like I said to someone stupidly said the other day, "Oh, you're wasting your time. Why are you mucking about here? Blah blah blah." This and the other. I played football. The moment I'll be sad is the day I can't play it. I said this to the wife the other day. It's like, I don't care if I play in the park with the boys, and I play for the vets team here on a Sunday now, which is quite fun. We've got quite a good vets team. And I'll play till I stop. The day I can't play anymore is the day that I'll be like devastated, because that's like the dream that I've done from 6, that I played football. And that's when my, like, not being a professional anymore, it always happens. You get old and you can't move anymore and new people come through. But to actually stop playing, that'll be my biggest crux when I'll be annoyed.
I completely agree as well with like what you say about the 23s and stuff, because now that people are saying, you just look at what we've got Wednesday now, and Alex Hunt 21 or whatever, and you say, no, he's a really young player. You've been in non-league for 4 or 5 years, playing with blokes for 5 or 6 years. You've been over to Singapore, you've been in Australia and seen all these things, whereas lads at same age now have seen under 23s games, which in comparison is no experience at all, really.
It's a tough one because it's great for some and bad for others, I think. I think some needed it. I think there's someone like me, say, when I was 18, if I'd have maybe got the 23s, would I have stayed in it earlier? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's hard to say, did I need them extra 2 years of coaching to get into that level? So it's hard to say yes or no. The trouble I feel for them is that you could be a kid who's 22, never played in the first team, never really been involved in it, been on the fringes, you played a few games. You're now 22, you're now going to like, I said something, I went from Nottingham Forest, walking in and going in the boot room where we're sponsored by Umbro and go, what boots do you want? Like, pick a pair of boots if you want. So like, you go in and say, I'll have them trainers tell, I'll have them boots, this and you, there's my kit, wash that for me, there's my lunch, me whatever they've done for me and all that and everything. I went from that and went to Championship. To the next season, gone to Shrewsbury, waking up in Carlisle, forgetting that I'd washed the kit but not dried it, driving down in the car with the shorts in the window, trying to drive them down the with the 47. Do you know what I mean? Like the A49. I didn't do it on the motorway, obviously, because it could fly off, but putting them in the back seat, obviously, trying to dry them out. And like they don't get these experiences anymore.
No.
Like, that's what I'm saying, and that's the whole point. So I always talk for granted. I always say to everyone talks about football and like being this important. So I said, there's only one person who's the most important. That's the owner, because they pay the money so they can do what they want. Apart from that, everyone's level. So it might be football, a cleaner, whatever. We're all part of a job and a family. So that's why I always said to lads, like, take care of everyone, because you just don't know. And it's like they just don't. It's hard now because like when they leave these good academies and they drop out and they have to start doing stuff for themselves at an age of 2021 and they don't know what to do, it must be so difficult for them. And that's why I think mental health's a massive issue in football at the moment. And I think the big issue is because a lot of life lessons aren't there, and these are not help. It's like, it's play football, do well, and not worry about everything else. And I think that the more people that keep talking about it, the more people that do something about it, I think it's better for the football.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's really prevalent right now, especially about the duty of care. You know, like, for example, back when you were talking about Halifax, about leaving there, and they're saying to you, do you know what, see you later. There's no duty of care there. It's just, you're going, like, you know what I mean? So I can understand how that's obviously a massive issue. Listen, Holly, I'm gonna leave you to ask the last question, because I'm just conscious of time. We've taken everybody's time, and Grant's been really gracious with this. Oh, have you got everything ticked off? Have you got your bingo ticked off? Go on then, Ben.
We've got to ask about the wrestling, haven't we? We can't.
Well, yeah, this is where I was going to go. Yeah,
we'll go finish off with that.
Right. So the wrestling. So this is how the wrestling came about. Me being me, because I can't help myself. I always do anything for, like, if I can, I'll try and do it within reason. Do you know what I mean? So there's a wrestling company in Norwich called the WAW. So their daughter's Paige using WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what happened was there was a kid here who had blood cancer, and they were doing a charity show for him. So this was in the May. And I was like, and they're like, can you do it? Just come in, do a little bit of a thing, little slap or whatever, this, that, and the other. And I was like, yeah, that's not a problem. I said, no problem, I'll do it. But yeah, not a problem. So obviously I was still playing at the time. So I was like, well, I'll try and do it. And basically what happened was the fixture that I was doing got switched. So it was like, it landed on that fixture, and I'd already told everyone who was coming. I was like, felt a little bit obviously thing, so I was like, look, put a video out. I'm really sorry, I can't get there. We've got a game. Hope the night goes well. Here's a shirt, raffle and whatever. Put it all on my socials. Kind of, there you go. And they're like, oh, really appreciate it. I said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do for you. Next year, I'm definitely retiring. So I knew I was going to retire the year after. That was the plan anyway. So I said, I'll do it next year. So if you book the event next year, I'll come and do it. But I want to do it properly, because I don't want just going to come and give someone a crap slap. I want to do something properly. This is how it started. So anyway, so got the event. Me being me, now I've retired. So I now get excited and thinking, well, hang on, if I'm going to be involved in it, let's see what I can do. Let's see who I can get. Let's see where we can have it. How big can I go? Where can we go? And obviously, I've got a good relationship with Norwich and the commercial department. I know one of the big lads in there is a big wrestling fan. So I said to him, I'm going to pitch to you an idea. And I thought he'd just laugh and like put me out of the room. He was like, what? I went, I want to do a wrestling event on the pitch. And he went, that's fucking brilliant. And I was like, what? He's like, we'll do it. I'll help you. We'll do it. We'll do this and we'll do that and we'll do that. And he said, I want to break records. Who are we getting in? This, that, and the other. And that's how it grew. So obviously we had to build. So the first event I'd done was after a BT thing, which I knew would get quite exposure. I came and done the Royal Rumble thing, which I knew would get quite a little bit of thing. I left the closing on purpose because obviously we knew people had relevance it from the night before. And we knew we'd build up to it. And obviously always we ended up doing the charity, the event was for Big C, and put all that in. And we ended up getting 4,300 Carrow Road in the end.
Wow.
So we got 4,000. I think we're like the biggest record attendance for like independent or something like
independent
that.
UK wrestling, I think I read, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. So 4,300 we had there. So it kind of just started like that, and then obviously everyone just asks me, oh, when you're next wrestling, or when you're doing this, and when I was like, well, I only really done it for charity, but like, and then now obviously every time like the Royal Rumbles on the WWE, I always like 200 to 1 for like Sky Bet and that. So I always get that. as soon as it comes out, my name's always on there. So
listen. Get if you're going to turn up in like yellow spandex and you've got like feathers down here, the canary.
just let you know.
Yeah, let me know. Send me a DM and we'll.
Would that not copyright by Hulk Hogan? That even going down in yellow.
I don't know. You know, as long as you're not doing the leg splash, I think it's all right. I'm pretty sure.
It was good. I said everyone got the thing out of it, and the great thing was it got the exposure, which was everything we were going for. Was the exposure and the awareness and the family and everything like that. So it was a big year for the family because they had that Fighting with My Family film that was out as well. So it was a big year for the family. They're really struggling actually with the COVID because obviously everything is kind of shut down. It's a shame for them because they just got to the top because obviously with everything, the film and everything is gone, they were getting more people going than ever, and then it was like literally like bang, no, you're done.
Jesus,
so that's right.
You have to get your spandex back on.
That's it, yeah, that'll be the next conversation. Somebody like, right, oh yeah, we're doing a charity event. Can you come? But no, we'll wait and see on that note.
All right, I love the idea of you and somebody like an Ipswich legend, like like Jim McGilton, something having a tear up, like I mean, like
Ollie Norwood done it, didn't he? He done a little bit in the ring. So everyone was trying to get that one, but to be fair, Ollie's a little bit too small for me. I'd chuck him around too easy. Yeah, it'd be
a different weight class, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But listen, thank you so much for joining us, Grant. That was absolutely outstanding, and you managed to keep me quiet for a lot of part of an hour there, and I really appreciate it, man. So thanks a lot, and thanks a lot to Michael Constantine Wealth Management for sponsoring this nonsense once again, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
The Wednesday week is sponsored by Michael Constantine Wealth Management. We bet you can't find a financial advisor closer to Hillsborough Stadium.